Hey guys, what's up? So, I have a couple projects for customers. I have to build a couple firewalls. What you see in front of you is a Dell R310 server, and I also have a Dell R210 server, which I'll do in the next video. But I need to make two firewalls. They're both Linux based. One is Sophos UTM, and one is Sophos SG. So the Sophos SG firewalls are a new version of the software, and the Sophos UTM is based on the Astaro firewall. So a few years ago, Sophos bought out a company called Astaro, and they had put out their own firewall. So let's take a look at this hardware real quick. I actually love Dell servers for firewalls. This is more like an entry-level rack server. The Dell R200 series and 300 series are more of like their entry-level servers. They're usually typically single processor, and the R200, which is pretty much the most entry-level server they have, it's usually single processor. A lot of times you won't get hot swap RAID in there, you know, hot swap drives. You can normally only do one power supply. Whereas with the, I have to fix that. It's bent out of shape. The R300 is this is R310. It's a step up. You know, typically you might have integrated RAID, more of like hardware RAID. So you can usually implement that somewhere in here with an expansion card. This is the first time I've opened the server up, so I'm just taking a look at the specs myself. But one of the reasons why I like these servers as firewalls is that they have two network interfaces. So for a firewall, I mean, that's what you want. You want your WAN interface, your internal LAN interface. I noticed this card looks like it has some sort of USB controller on there. USB 3.0, that's what it looks like. You know, you can tell by the blue connectors in there. Which I'm going to probably take this card out because I don't need USB 3.0. Looks like it has a couple PCI riser cards. Has 2 4 gig of ECC DDR registered RAM. Well, I don't know if it's registered or not, but typically on a server you'll get ECC registered memory. Well, actually that's not true. The entry level servers can lots of times just run like regular DDR memory, DDR3, DDR4, depending on what you're using. Okay, so this is a 3430, I believe, Xeon quad-core processor with 2.4 gigahertz clock. This one actually does have the single power supply, but what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could upgrade it to like a hot swap. And that's usually the difference between the 300 series and the 200 series, is that being able to have hot swap power supplies. It does have a spot for 4 hard drives, but I'm actually going to be running a solid-state drive. So, alright, so let's see here. I'm looking at the chipset, and I want to see what kind of a network chipset it has. So it looks like it has a Broadcom chipset, and a couple things. I mean, I make a lot of firewalls. I've made hundreds and hundreds of firewalls based on you know, Untangle, Sophos, FreeBSD, you know, pfSense. Just about every kind of Linux-based firewall you can think of. So, if you're going to be building a firewall out of a server, it's better to have something with more than one NIC built on board, because you'll get faster throughput. If you have to come off the board and up the PCI riser to an external network card, you know, typically it's not going to get as good a throughput. Even though they are directly soldered onto the same PCI bus, in theory, you know, if you actually were to take it out and look at the specs. But, you know, also, if you're going to be running a firewall and you want max throughput, you should try to keep the same chipset. Because when you go from, say, like a Broadcom to an Intel chipset, you kind of lose a little bit of throughput. So yeah, if you can keep all the same chipset, usually I prefer Intel chipsets. But this one doesn't, I mean, that's a blaring sign that's Broadcom right there, that chip right there. Hope you guys can see me. Alright, so yeah, so that's a Broadcom chipset. Alright, gotta fire this thing up, get my solid state drive in there, and start loading the software on there. But yeah, I mean, I got this server for $100, so wasn't too bad. Like I said, I don't need this. I'm gonna pull it out right now. Looks like it's a little dented down here. Alright, I mean, this is a secondhand server, so you gotta fix that to get this card out. USB 3.0 card. So yeah, this is actually where the RAID control would go. So either that or a perk card. But well, normally, okay, well, the perk card would probably go here. If you actually had like a remote access card, the perk would go in here. And then this is probably most likely for your RAID controller here. So I don't need RAID because I'm gonna be running one single drive and it's gonna be solid state. So alright, so yeah, after this one's gonna be running Sophos UTM. It's the firewall that was based on Astaro. And actually, right now, that's actually the one I currently like, because I'm not totally sold on the Sophos SG yet. So, even though I've installed a few of them, you know, it's the port forwarding and one-to-one NAT rules are kind of unusual. So, hopefully I haven't actually messed with it for about a year, so hopefully maybe they improve it with a newer version. But, yeah, I've been sticking with the UTM, so. Alright guys, we'll fire this up and see if it works. See if we can get the BIOS, the screen up. So, awesome. Hey guys, not sure if you can see that. Let's see if I can zoom in there. I can't see what screen I'm on here. Okay, that screen right there. So I am getting some video here on that screen. So yep, it's not a dead server. Keyboard failure, 2.4 gig quad core. If we can zoom in. Like I said, I don't even know if you can see that or not. But the server is alive. Alright, so before I went any further, I wanted to make sure I at least got some kind of BIOS screen on there. Could at least fire up. So from now, from here I'm going to put the solid state drive in there. And got a messy workbench. As you can see in my videos, I work on a lot of projects. So I've been doing this every day for 25 years. Since I was 15, you know, fixing computers. Okay, so no virtual disk file, so I got to log in, put the solid state drive in. Configure the RAID. Well, actually, I'm on disabled RAID, and then just basically go like a ACHI, you know. And I gotta get the Sophos UTM put on the USB flash drive because this doesn't have a CD-ROM. So, you know, this was normally if you had a CD-ROM, it'd be right here, but I don't need a CD-ROM. So, awesome. So right now, I'm holding the I have the case cover off, but I'm holding the cover button with my finger, just so the fans don't go crazy. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm going to be using a Samsung Evo SSD drive. This is an extra SSD drive laying around here. So this firewall is going into a colo, into like a major data center, Centurylink. I think I've actually taken some videos of that before. And just to replace one of my existing firewalls that's in there. Yeah, I'll talk about the other one, XG firewall, once I get it going. So, but yeah, this one is just going to replace an existing Sophos UTM I have in there. So the configuration should be pretty basic. I just have to install the software on the machine, do a backup of my existing configuration, and then just do a restore. So, alright, so I got to find a place to put this SSD drive in there. Yeah, these are. What's funny, they look like hot swap drives on the outside. It's like a faux hot swap drive. So it's kind of unusual. It looks like it's hot swap, but it's not. So, yeah, I don't think I've ever dealt with it before. There it goes. So, yeah, look at that. It's a faux hot swap. So, alright, guys. I don't know if I'm just gonna get like those external mounts for this thing or what I'm gonna do with that, but I guess I can put it right there, maybe. Cable reach. Just use some sticky tape, you know, put it right there. I think I can put it here. Alright, I'll find a way. Let's see what's up. Awesome. Cool. Alright guys, I have my little USB flash drive here. I have a Sophos UTM 9.5 on here. And put that in the front of it. And fire this thing up. So once I get to the BIOS screen, see what's up. Alright guys, fire this up. Plug it in. Probably get the network card in there, which I don't even need that yet. Alright, awesome. Come back. Okay guys, I don't know if you can see that, but right now I'm actually going to go into the setup right now, but even though the PERC S100 is enabled, that's not actually real hardware RAID. It's not like a hardware RAID controller with its own processor, you know, cache memory. So I'm going to log into the BIOS and enable a AHCI for the serial ATA solid state drive there. Alright, so let's go, if you guys can see me, go down to SSCA settings. I want to change, well, sorry, yes, STA, what the hell, RAID mode. I'm surprised that's the only modes you have there. Huh. Alright, that's all I need. BIOS, boot settings, boot mode. Awesome, cool. Pretty basic. Alright guys, so I forgot to mention that actually I'm not installing the firewall just yet, the firewall software. So typically when I get a server that's used, I let it usually run for a day or so. So I install a temporary copy of Windows so I can actually download all the firmware, BIOS updates, everything from Dell. Because typically you have like a RAID controller firmware, you have the BIOS, you have the fan controller board, you know, I think it's called like BCM. There's a lot of different firmware that I usually update on this thing before I put it in production. I usually let it run for a day or so and look for errors. So I'm going to install a temporary copy of Windows 2016. And that way I can actually go online, go on the internet. It's just, you can actually download all these things individually and do them from DOS, or create download like the Dell update software. But to me, it only takes me 20 minutes to install this version of Windows Server 2016. So easier to do that way for me. So do that. Yep, want to do custom. Oh gosh, I gotta load the driver. The RAID controller driver, the S100 RAID controller driver. Forgot about that. Okay, cool. Come back. Well, I'm done. So I'm just gonna install Windows. It's not really this is more a firewall video, but all right. Okay, guys, got the firmware update. Got the BIOS updated. The BCM, that's the fan controller board. It wasn't a RAID controller firmware update. But there was actually some the Broadcom network firmware, the firm controller or the controller chips. So there it goes, booting up. So I guess I'll go through the menus. It's should be self-explanatory. Yes, we want to start. Kids making noise back there. So like I said, this is a Xeon. I think it's a 3430 quad core, 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, yeah, 3430 there. And I have 120 gig SSD drive, Samsung. So no CD-ROMs, English, America. I'm in Southern California. I guess Los Angeles. I usually choose Los Angeles. There it goes. I can do that later. I usually have, typically for me when I build firewalls, I usually have ETH0 as the internal and ETH1 as the outside, the WAN interface. So I'm going to do ETH0. So I'll make it 1. And I don't need a gateway because the gateway is going to be the WAN interface. Yes, I do want the 64-bit kernel. I have 8 gig of RAM in here, so, and 64-bit. Yes, all capabilities. Yes. So it's going to auto format. Then it'll come back, and I'll show you. Come back here, buddy. It's pretty basic. Okay guys, so installation is complete. I did actually have some issues with the USB, booting from the USB, but I made another video on that. It's pretty common for different versions of Linux, so you know, booting from a USB has always been a problem. So, all right, I don't have a root login yet, but I will work on that. Yeah, this is not a new installation. This is just an upgrade for a different existing server. So, all right, cool. So I'm gonna log in and I will do it. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a restore file. I'll show you that in a second. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna do a quick. I'm gonna log into the existing firewall. I do actually have a VPN connection here to that firewall. Got 1:444. Oh, I forgot a 4 there. Yep. Ah. 1.1:4444. Oh. HTTPS. It's going to give me a warning, and that's on the YouTube thing. Wow, things are popping up. Okay. Alright guys, so here's the firewall. This is my typical, this is my admin laptop. I use my work bag. Okay, I don't think you can see my key command. Wait, you didn't see my password. Alright, so logging in. So this is my existing Sophos UTM. And management, and I want to create a quick backup. Even though I should have backups, I'm going to create a backup right now. Or I guess I already have existing backups. 8.1. Create backup now. Alright. Alright, so 1.6, there we go. I'm going to download it. That way I have download backup. Alright, so now I'm actually going to grab a network wire. And so if you see below, I actually have the server. So I just connected via wireless to get to that thing. So I'm going to turn off the wireless on my laptop. Then I'm going to hook up a direct Ethernet cable from my laptop to this new server. And I'm just going to log in and restore the backup. Alright guys, back here. We're going to make my laptop bubble it. Bring it in, zoom in so you can see it. Alright, so I've already downloaded the file. And I actually disabled my wireless on my laptop. And I do actually have a direct wire going from my laptop to the server. That way I can actually restore the file that I just downloaded. Alright, so this is the old firewall. And this is the new firewall I'm logging in now. Okay, this should actually go through, and I accept. If you can't see my keyboard, I have to put some passwords in here. I don't know why. Actually, it should normally just ask me to firewall that. Well, I'll come back and I'll do the next step. That way you don't see what I'm doing here. Alright, back here. So I just created. So when you do it, it basically generates a SSH key, self-assigned SSH key. So from here, it should ask me for the backup file if I want to restore, continue, or restore from a backup. So I want to restore from a backup. Browse the file. This is the file that I just downloaded from my existing firewall. That's in the downloads folder. And I'm going to start the upload process. It's going to take a couple minutes. I'm going to log out, log back in. And the cool thing about this backup, it's it copies over everything. The keys, the licenses, like everything is completed, like the NAT rules, firewall rules, everything is actually redone. So I should be able to log in and see everything now. Let's see. Alright. Now I can take it to the Colo data center and install it. So, if you guys need help installing a firewall, Sophos or Cisco or Sonic Wall or Fortinet, whatever, doesn't make a difference for brand, let me know. Give me a call. The number is below. Okay guys, going to be replacing that R2 set, or excuse me, R200 server, R310 server. I'm going to take out that R310 and put the 310 in its place. Alright, cool. That's going to be the new firewall. Guys, we're back in action. So, if you guys need help with a firewall, getting it installed, or program, or just troubleshooting, let me know. Give me a call. Number's below.